mon epi. Pour nous connaître, pour nous fait pour nous tout ça bénéfice. For all the wonders you done for us, Lord, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for God, that's why we thanking you. We thanking you, brother. Acha no mundo sou passar que chale eu foi we bisi. Bono konet kwa eu akuma smaka das music. All the gender to fix right with them say yo. Vivian all the sex like one who pass check yo. Yo passe tout les voyages de musique nous. Mais attention. Akaisala, Prince Madix, Prince Madix, Prince Madix, Prince Madix. Akuma wete ba moun plein la yo moja kite la vie. Apprécier ça yo ka fe kon yo a parmi nous jodi. La te moge ba le bien non nous ka consipe mon epi. Pour nous connaître, pour nous fait pour nous tout ça bénéfice. For all the wonders you done for us, Lord, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for God, that's why we thanking you. We thanking you, brother. Acha no mundo sou passar que chale eu foi we bisi. Bono konet kwa eu akuma smaka das music. All the gender to fix right with them say yo. Vivian all the sex like one who pass check yo. Yo passe tout les voyages de musique nous. Mais attention, je ne sais que la chaîne. Qui battait wa dix qui a poussé. For all the wonders you done for us, son, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for God, that's why we thanking you. We thanking you, brother. Akuma wete ba moun plein la yo moja kite la vie. Apprécier ça yo ka fe kon yo a parmi nous jodi. La te moge ba le bien non nous ka consipe mon epi. Pour nous connaître, pour nous fait pour nous tout ça bénéfice. For all the wonders you done for us, Lord, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for God, that's why we thanking you. We thanking you, brother. Pour tout ça, on a fait, et pour jamais, pour le chômage, et pour ça, on a fait, pour cadastre l'esprit, et pour ça, pour les frères, on a aujourd'hui, pour nous dire merci. Prince Madix, 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 Prince Madix.
People don't really see how much work it takes.
There's going to be a lot of people who don't know what this means.
Yeah.
Road March Carnival, what that looks like. I saw the video. the documentary, and 16 shows, 7 days.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those shows, but I saw on one of those shows, the clock said 4.5 hours on stage.
Yeah.
Walk me through what that carnival, what that week looks like for you, or even leading up to carnival to Road March. Like, what does this look like? What is this world? Help people understand what this world looks like.
First of all, soca is the only business where you must have a hit every single year.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to do albums because I wanted to have multiple dimensional hits because I understood that is what was going to put me above the rest. So I had a groovy soca hit, I had a power soca hit for the road, which was that is the difference in tempo. One is 110 or 120 BPM and one is 160 BPM.
65, yeah.
165 even.
Yeah.
And you know, those two areas, but then you had a song that had a sort of chutney music for the East Indian community, collaborations, one with a little dancehall vibe. So I was doing albums. So we would start recording in like October, November, maybe late November sometimes because Miami Carnival. And we start recording and releasing songs on Boxing Day, you know, New Year's Day. You try to release 2-3 songs, but you wanted to have enough of a catalog for your songs to be banging on the radio for people to start calling you to do shows because we needed multiple shows.
Mm-hmm.
And there would be so many shows, but you know, everybody wants to have a successful carnival with a big hit song.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted 3. You know?
Not just one, you wanted 3 because carnival is February, March.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So from Boxing Day, it's all fets every single weekend. And as it gets closer, every weekend there's a fet or 3 fets happening. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And sometimes 2 on one day.
And sometimes you got to drive from South Trinidad all the way here. Like
it happens all over the country.
Crazy. Okay.
But the frequency of these shows start increasing the closer it gets to the actual carnival Monday and Tuesday, which is in February.
Yeah.
The 2 days before Lent.
Yeah.
So you now have this Road March song, this 165 BPM song. Road March is the most popular song during carnival time. You're driving on the streets, you play mass, you're hearing it on every DJ playing it. You're hearing it 6-7 times in an hour on the radio. You know, you're hearing it banging because people love it so much.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when people play mass or they cross in the carnival stage, they choose that song to jump across the stage to.
Right.
And they count how many times people choose that song.
Right.
And that becomes the most famous song. That's like Song of the Year, you win a Grammy.
Here,
that's the equivalent.
That's the equivalent of the Grammy.
So remember, and I've been winning them in 97, came second in 98, and I wrote the song that won in 98.
Okay.
You know, after that, 2003 came second, 2004 came second. By 2006, I won the Road March again. 2007, won it again.
4 times.
You know, and it was just starting to go.
What's up, everybody? It's Mauricio Ruiz, founder of the Manager's Playbook. If you've seen the podcast, you know I talk a lot about how the music business really works. Not the theory, but what it actually takes to build a career that lasts. Listen, I spent over 17 years working behind the scenes with artists, managers, and teams, helping them make smarter deals, build systems, and grow careers that actually scale. And there's one thing that I've learned. Most people aren't lacking talent. They're lacking a playbook and someone to help them execute it. That's why, for the first time ever, I'm opening up the Manager's Playbook Mentorship Program, a hands-on program where my team and I personally help you get clear on your strategy, build real momentum, and make better business moves in the next few months. Now, if you're serious about taking your career or your artist to the next level, this is your chance to work directly with us. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Click the link below, learn more, and book your call today. Let's build your playbook together. Now back to the pod.
So it was about chasing that dream. So you want to perform in a lot of fets. You want your songs to be doing well. And it just ended up being you're doing 50, 60 shows in like a month.
And radio interviews, music videos, TV, hosting guests as they're flying in, all these international guests. But all of what he just said happens from, you know, November to March, because right after Carnival, it goes Jamaica. Once your song is a hit, you have a passport to go all over the other ones. And it doesn't end until Miami, which is October. So then after that, if you get any time to rest, you get a week or so, and then you have to be back in the studio finding hits for the next one, because some artists might be able to get through, but most artists, if you can have the biggest song in Carnival in 2025, and if you don't come with a song that the people love in 2026, you're nowhere.
Yeah.
Crazy. Wow. And this is something you're saying you get in 2 weeks, 3 weeks of a break, but like this is 20, 30 albums that you're doing this in a row. 43 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like non-stop.
That's why it's time to go to zero.
Time to make one album that can set the tone for 3-4 years of touring and maybe 2 years of retreat.
You know,
I do have to ask, because you run Road March last year.
Yeah.
And that was the 11th.
Yeah.
Tied with
Lord Kitchener. Most of all time.
So it's the most of all time road marches. 2026. Are you going to compete to be able to get the 12th so you can have that?
If you ask me this question in 2020, I would tell you there's two voices on each shoulder.
Okay, back to the voice.
One saying, yeah, get 12 and be the greatest of all time. And one saying, the amount of effort you have to put in to get a road march, people don't really see how much work it takes. You have to record the song, write the song, produce the song, perform the song, promote the song. You have to really, really compete. And it takes a lot of energy to make it happen.
Yeah.
From 2020.
All right. So good morning to the listeners. I am Jerry Williams, trying to fill the shoes of Ambassador Leroy Wadix Charles for the Creole Heartbeat show this morning, and it's a big shoes to fill. So bear with me as we go into the Dominican Music Award. But our focus this morning, as you realize, we did a video playing Marshall and his experience and what he has done over the years to maintain the standards that he has maintained. And just want to point out how important the music award is and how it's a challenge, but it's something that we definitely at Creole Heartbeat decide that we have to do, especially the success of our musician over the past 2 years, 18 months. They have been producing a lot of hits, and as you may have heard that in the soca business, and now I'm going to shift it into the booyah business, into the music business, but especially into the booyah music, who has that similarity with the soca business. Your lifetime or your shelf life is not that long. You have to continue and constantly produce. Also, the mention of creating albums and different type of bouillon music to really keep the audience going. He also mentioned the fact of, because of our carnivals being the same, it's not it's basically good to mirror the success of an artist like Marshall, and to really have our artists understand the business, know what needs to be done, what the work that they need to put in, and that is where the music awards comes in, where we are trying to create the standards when the artists submit their work. That's why we have the various categories, especially when you point out album of the year. Yes, you have the Booyah Artist of the Year, but you also have the Manager of the Year, the engineer, the producers. Those are all persons who really and truly make the success of any music that you see out there, any artist that you see out there. The success of these artists is not just the vocals or them performing on the stage, is the individuals in the back, the individuals that make it happen. And as I say, individuals in the back, individuals that make it happen, we have a guest with us, Miss Naomi Green, who is a Dominican based in Guadeloupe. And I'm going to allow her to introduce herself in a while. And the reason why we're having this level of conversation is for us as a public, and also those who are serious about the music industry, to understand it takes a lot in the back to be successful. And some of our local artists that we see are successful is because they have a lot going on behind of them, to ensure that they are successful. So I'm going to switch it over to Naomi to introduce herself. I don't want to leave out anything because I think this is someone that, in the back we may not know. At the front, persons may know her within the music industry, but the public who enjoys our music, who see our artists on the big stage throughout the Caribbean, throughout France, throughout the French West Indies, in the US, would get a feel as to what it takes for them to be there. So, Naomi?
Good morning to everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you a couple of words and letting the public know what happens behind the scenes. Not only behind the scenes, but we're gonna discuss a little bit of what's happening around our locals, artists being in that industry for a couple of years and showing the public that it is not an easy task. There are the front stage, but there is also the backstage, yes.
Definitely.
So my name is Naomi Green, and I am from Dominica, from the village of Pilit 7, born in Guadeloupe, raised in Dominica, and was brought back in Guadeloupe by my mother at the age of 15 years, and the rest is history. We will say it like that.
All right.
I've been collaborating. Okay, I'll let you.
Yeah, no problem.
Maybe I'll have a lot to say, but you'll give the questions and I will answer.
Well, based on our conversation, because myself and Naomi has been, back and forth having conversation, she helping guide, certain areas within the music industry, give me a better understanding, give us a better understanding of it. And so the conversation we're going to have this morning is basically a conversation we have had, over the past couple of weeks. And so I just want her to really, take the floor and go into the whole, the management, the booking, the whole history of where you're at today, why you're doing what you're doing, and the success of our local artists within this French space and beyond.
Yes, exactly. Well, to give a little bit of history of where I started and where I am today, it goes back way back. I started with Triple K at the time. It was very difficult for me as a young teenager growing up to be able to go to go in an event where I could enjoy the bouillon music in the French islands. At the time we are talking about Guadeloupe. My parents would never let me go to a bouillon event at the time. Why? Because we had, unfortunately, I would say it wasn't looking nice for us, the bouillon music at the time. We have came a very, very, very long way. So my aim was at the time, if my mother want to accept me to go to this type of events because it's my culture and I want to embrace that culture, I have to do something about it. That was my reflection at the time. So I went to speak. At the time, I was working in logistics for different events, especially the big festivals. And I can mention one, for example, the All Day in Festival. I was working as a logistics person on the ground, and I was like, why can't we have our local artists, bouillon artists, on these big stages? Why are they always booked in always the same type of events? And I wasn't getting the answers that I needed. So I was bold enough to go and talk to the promoters and say, hey, Dominican Guadeloupe has a strong tied up here. We love the bouillon music, but we are not putting them up front. So why can't we have them on the stage? And it was very difficult to let them have these artists on these stages. So back and forth, and then I went on to speak at the time to Jeffrey, tell him, listen, are you interested of going on the big stage? And obviously, yes, everybody's interested. But the first thing is it going to work? How are they going to manage? We are a big band, and etc., etc. So, long story short, I made it work. We went on the stage, first time, 15,000 people, all day in festival. And I want to say thank you to Triple K at the time for letting me be their agent with. But my vision at the time was we are not going to do that we were coming to. It wasn't a comfortable place for everybody because there was only some stuff happening and some people couldn't go, some clients couldn't go to these events because we are not going to go into it, but it was complicated. And then from that time, I decided, guys, we are not going to forget where we came from. If we can bring other Caribbean artists or worldwide artists to these big stages, why not embrace the culture that we are enjoying on those big stages? That's where I started. And the rest is history, as we see. And then I went down to my second, I will say, big opportunity was working with Mr. Ridge. And that was one of my best experience for so far in Dominica. Ridge brought me into his, I will say, his organization, and we are working together from since then. And then I think that everybody knows and can see the big job that he's doing, especially with the youngsters that he's putting on board. And so we have a culture. For me, we have something that is our own, and we need to embrace it. We need to build it up. We need to show the world that yes, it came from us. It came from Dominica. That is our culture. But we need to structure. We need to put things in place so that everybody can know that is where it comes from. Because at the time that I was doing bookings for Triple K in the beginning, there wasn't a lot. People knew that Bouyon came from Dominica because after the French artists jumped into it, and then it went down to Africa and etc. But there is a lot. There is a lot that we had to get going on, and we still have to at the time that I'm speaking. So building an industry and have it well structured, it's not an easy task. It is really not an easy task.
How do you see the music award helping in that building of the structure?
The music awards we are talking about Dominica, right?
Yes, the Dominican Music Award.
For me, the Dominica Music Awards can definitely help build a structure because right here we are doing something by the people, for the people, which means by us, for us, among us. Who is better than doing this among us? The Caribbean Music Awards can go way beyond just the music awards. Getting the people that you guys need, structuring, especially, and I will take my part, the bouillon industry, going for what it takes, because right now we don't really have a structure industry in Dominica for the artists. Those who were able to move forward and be who they are today, it was great, but they didn't do it alone. With my help and other people across the Caribbean, and I will say the world, we all are contributing in our own way. But the Caribbean music, the Dominican Music Award, sorry,
Mhm.
is going to help us in a way and see us for who we are and what we can do. We cannot let outsiders decide and take this away from us. Dominican Music Awards can definitely help bring in the culture and the bouillon music further if we have um, people like me, people like you, people like Wadix and other people to help it get structured, because it is not structured right now in Dominica. There is a lot to be done. So we have something like, for example, in Guadeloupe, like what we call La Scène. That is something something that we can. I know that Dominica has something
Okay,
or
you're
almost
all
the
right. You're
same,
you're
but
sticking.
we need something like that for the artists. Most of our artists right now in Dominica only gets paid by bookings, performance. But what about um, getting the royalties from the music? We don't have that in Dominica right now, if I am not mistaken. So there is so much that we can put together and structure the music industry in Dominica that I don't even know from where to start, to tell the truth.
All right. So I earlier you mentioned the Caribbean Music
I
Award.
think we got cut off.
You can hear me now? All right, Naomi, can you hear me? All right. So while we get Naomi back online, I just want to let the public know that we still have voting going on at the moment. Our voting for the artists is closed, will be closed on the 10th of December. For you to vote, you can go to www.creoleheartbeat.com and vote for your favorite artist, your favorite DJ, your favorite producer. The list is there for you to really and truly go support the artist. This is a way of showing your appreciation for the work that they have done over the year. And also, we do have um, limited tickets that persons can attend. It's an invitation only plus your tickets. But the invitation is basically for the finalists, the different sponsors, and also to the public can get an opportunity to witness the event live. So we're basically encouraging persons to go to push the voting, vote for your favorite artist, www.creoleheartbeat.com. You see the different links. There's also the tickets. You can go online, www.creoleheartbeat.com, to get your ticket online for the music award. It's going to be held at the Intercontinental in Cabritz in Portsmouth, and it's going to have a red carpet at 6 p.m. and also interviews. You have an opportunity to walk the red carpet, take pictures with our different artists. So it's something that we're doing to really and truly appreciate and celebrate the artists. So I'm not sure if Naomi is back. Okay, so again, we just want to encourage persons that this awards is not just an awards to hype the artist, but also to really help them to structure their work. We do have the whole process is you have the public voting, which takes place until the 10th. That 60% of the points would go towards the choosing the finalists, and the 40% we have a panel of judges, well renowned individuals who have been in the music industry, who understand the music to be a part of our judging, which 40% of that would go towards choosing the the top the top three in certain categories, the top five, and then finally select the winner for that period. So again, we just want to encourage the public to really and truly join us in celebrating the artists. Go on our social media pages, like our posts. Go on the website, vote for your favorite artist. I just encouraging again, repeatedly, vote, 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 and just show the love for the artist. Encourage them because again, the music, the social, the artist. This is music is something that really and truly shape our society, and the more we appreciate our musician and allow them to feel good about their art form, what they do, the better it is in regards to shaping our society. We know music influence, especially the young person, even the older folks. Music is something that inspires you. So it is important that we celebrate our music, and it's also important that we support our musician. Do we have Naomi back on? All right, so Naomi, can you hear me? Are you there? All right. So basically, again, get before we get Naomi back on to give us an idea of the role that the Caribbean Music Award is playing within our local artists. So Naomi, you're back on.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's been going like it's dropping off every time. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on.
No problem. That's technology. We do understand that. That happens sometimes. I
Yeah.
just want to touch base. I just want us to go into the Caribbean Music Awards. We have seen that over the past 2 years that Booyah has stand out. I know there have been different players within our music space who has assisted in getting our Booyah music, our artists out there. I just want you, as someone who may be familiar with the process and the Caribbean Music Award, what do you think? How do you think it has assisted our local musicians?
Well, it wasn't an easy task. Multiple of us did assist them. I can mention a couple names just to have an idea. Miss Jael Joseph really assisted um, the Caribbean Music Awards team to have many of our artists on board, myself and other people. Um, the Caribbean Music Awards is an organization based in the US by Caribbean people in the US. It is not easy, and it's not only for the Caribbean Music Awards. It's in an industry where music brings together the people. It is not going to be easy to have our people on board, but because right now Bouillon is catching up very well worldwide, I think that let's say they didn't have a choice. Right now it's our moment. Right now Bouillon is out there. Everybody's listening to Bouillon. Everybody's catching up on that particularity that we have um, in Bouillon, and it's worldwide. So they are seeing us. We are out there, and they have no choice. That's how I can say it. Now the Caribbean Music Awards being held in the U.S. With the numbers, etc., is really going to give us and is giving us that push because having um, people having like industries like BET and other major um, TV stations and influencers, all types of influencers. I'm not talking about just influencers in the music, all types of influencers um, pushing out that communication for the Caribbean Music Awards is really giving us that push in every single way. So being on Caribbean Music Awards is already a step into that worldwide music industry for sure.
All right, and I want to shift it now. You spoke about the U.S. market, the French market. I know we spoke about different French artists sampling or doing the booyah music. I just want you to touch base on that, and also to awaken our local artists to really and truly position themselves, get serious about the game, because at the end of the day, our music is now being sampled or used by the French artist who has a larger, how should I say it, a larger consumer, consumers of the music. And so we need to really and truly, our local artists need to get serious, even more serious. Also speak to our local producers, providing opportunities for these international artists.
Exactly. Let's start by saying this. Dominica is 70,000 people. Being a French artist doing bouillon in Guadeloupe or in Martinique or anywhere is already they are going to be ahead of us. Why? Because once you're in Guadeloupe, that tunnel brings you straight to France. France is where? France is in Europe. We're in a megalopole. So the numbers are going to be definitely bigger. once this is, and now apart from these tunnels, you have internet, you have now social media, and the crowds in these places are much more bigger than the Caribbean crowd, even though there is social media. And thanks God there is social media, which is helping us. So we need to get structured, we need to do better, not only the artists, but from the producer up to the artist, because the artist is the one, I will say, driving the music further. But before it comes to the artists, the producers, the management, we really need to have our guys structured from A to Z before putting your music out there. Because what's going to happen? That artist in France, and I will say down to Africa because that's what's happening right now, are going to get the glory of what belongs to us. Because why? They are in a space where they have everything around them, a bigger crowd, better opportunities, labels, and the list goes on. So we really have to take it seriously from the very beginning, structure ourselves, and then move forward with it. If we don't do that, they are not going to do it for us. They are going to pick up, and it is already happening. They're going to keep up with what they are doing and get the glory in our space. And there's nothing we will be able to do about it.
Right. So,
Even though we invented it, but
mhm.
again, it is what it is.
Right. So I just want you to point out some of the artists that are presently in our Booyah space that are not Dominicans but are doing well in regards to the Booyah music.
From the very beginning, if I can recall, you had that artist who is not really into the music industry like before. Oh no, sorry, he's not no longer with us. Super was one of the first among us who really was into the bouillon. Then you have right now, we can skip a little bit and come to the actualities right now. Let's take an example from the youngster 1T1. We can take that example. You have Adai, who has a little bit of Dominica background. You have the Holy G, and you have um, even in the bouillon, even though he's not uh, uh, a singer, but he also backs up as in the bouillon industry. You have Jigsaw, and these are the people right now. You have Le Jus, Theo Mao, and the list goes on. These are the artists right now with the actualities, pushing the bouillon, embracing it, also as Young Shang, sorry, embracing it, but giving us our credits. Let us point it out. The youngsters today are collaborating with our bouillon artists. Yes, I am pointing this out. They are not only doing the music, but they are giving the respect for those before them who put this up and right now collaborating together. As you know, 1T1 did a song with Ridge, and there's a whole other list of other people in the backgrounds, beat makers. You have the Sons of Admiralty, beat makers, songsters coming up. They are coming. So for me, collaborations between the French bouillon artists or French artists with Dominica is giving us that push that we need, and we should be continuing. We should continue to do these types of collaborations because this gives us a tunnel to go further and higher. But we are not going to forget that we created it and we have our specificities. From WCK to Triple K, Signal Band, Ridge, we embrace all these guys. I will say what they have brought to this industry from day one, and they are continuing every day to show us that we have something that they doesn't have, but collaborating with them, just like we have been collaborating with Trinidadians, Grenadians, and etc., is going to help us. So again, I'm coming back on it. We need to get structured so that we don't lose our identity in that Buyo music, and that we get what's supposed to be ours, the glory of it.
All right, thank you for that. And I think that the point that you just made, because we're supposed to be wrapping up in a while, the point that you just made is very important in the sense that the the artists that are not really basically based in Dominica or Dominican see the importance of the Bouyon music and realize that it is taking over. Now the thing is, how do we educate our artists, our local artists, to really capitalize on that trend? I mean, I know a lot of our artists tend to shift to the English speaking Caribbean and also to the US. But then the French market is where you're seeing the numbers and even that connection to the African market where we're seeing now the biggest set of artists in the world are Afrobeat African artists. How do and I even want to go back in time where Kadaslip. We see they have tapped into the African market. We have our very own Nasio Fountain, who has performed in Africa and is well received. So we are not our culture and our music and our genre is not new to the African and the French market because of the base of it. And how do you see the current trend and where we're at now? How can our local artists take advantage of that?
Wow, that's an interesting question, and I don't even know from where to start. Yeah, I am pretty convinced that the French tunnel has contributed massively of getting our music out there because of our connections and the proximity that we have with the French industry. That's where we started to do our biggest stages because of we can say to be able to go to the US, you need a visa and etc. Our culture with the French islands and French countries are very close, very tight, and the other thing that also helped was also don't forget our Creole festival, our big stages, and the tight connection that we had with the French islands as well. As well, we can go down to from Gordon from we can start back from Gordon Henderson and all those who always had this connection with the French territories. But for me, let's talk about the Bouillon guys. For me, being in Dominica and having this connection with Guadeloupe, because that culture of Bouillon was always very strong. Coming out from Dominica, going to Guadeloupe, and then straight to France, from France, for, you're in the world. That is a tunnel for me that is more obvious, um, faster, better, to get out in the world now. Even though we have internet now, we have social media and etc. For the French channel, for this type of channel was that's what that brought us to the world because of the connections and the way things were very much more easier for us. Um, like example, we got most of the guys signed to L'Assassin, for example, for their royalties. I am not very familiar with the other type of industry that gives the artists the industries if it works as easy and fast as L'Assassin, for example. Now we have Spotify, Apple Music, and etc. It gives you a split, but because of the population in the French territories, I think going for this channel has helped us massively and will continue to help us massively in the future.
All right. So thank you very much, Naomi. It was a pleasure having that conversation with you. As we have spoken, we need to do a conference or a workshop to really educate our local artists. But I want to thank you for sharing the knowledge and your experience. And I do hope to see you on January 3rd at the Dominican Music Awards.
I'm trying my very best. There's a lot we can say on that music industry, of course, but timing is against us, and then we just have to give the strongest one. So I try to do my best.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. All right. So thank you. And another Creole Heartbeat show. I do hope Wadix is listening and can rate me and tell me if I'm a very good host. But again, it was a pleasure presenting the information about the Dominican Music Awards, and we look forward to persons. Again, go and vote www.creoleheartbeat.com, and let's show appreciation to our local musician.